Welcome back to my series, guys, called Fighting with Your Physique, where we look at different body types and we try to dial in how you can be a better fighter based on your entire build. We've covered thin and lean fighters, short and stocky, guys who are extra strong. Today we're going to move away a tiny bit from the body type and actually go inside the body and talk about those people who have extreme, just extra spectacular cardio. How can you be a more dangerous, more effective, just a scary fighter if you're one of those guys who has a gas tank that just goes and goes? After the intro, guys, that is what we're diving into today. All right, guys, exceptional cardio. This could be a product of hard work, just putting in the time out on the road work in the gym, or it just could be God-given. You could just be somebody who's born with amazing cardio. But either way, it doesn't matter. The tactics, being able to utilize this strength you have is what we want to focus on today. How can you really use this even more to your advantage? And if you are somebody who doesn't have exceptional cardio yet, but thinks you can, make sure you check out some of my cardio tips, some of the running routines I use. Those are so important. I really believe I'm kind of a cardio machine, but I don't know if I was just born with it. I just work really hard. So I believe many people can achieve it as well if you put in the dedication, the time it takes to get out there and really do those kilometers, those miles on the road. But we're not focusing on how to get the cardio today. We're really focusing on the guys who already have it, who want to utilize it. So let's move into point number one, and we're going to be talking about making sure you recognize that going for the KO in the first round of the fight is not smart. Now, that's not to say it won't happen. I am somebody who's a perfect example of that. I've had so few KOs in the early part of my career, and then more recently I've started getting more and more knockdowns, especially in the first round, but I'm not going in looking for them. They just kind of happen. But being smart and intelligent is what this whole series is all about. And if you know you're somebody who the further the fight goes on, the more of an advantage you're going to have, why run out in the first round and just start going, okay, we're going to start exchanging really fast and I'm going to get this tempo up, because that's the point in the fight where they have the best chance of defeating you. The further the fight goes, the less chance they have, because your cardio will outlast theirs, which gives you an advantage. Every minute that clicks by, more and more of an advantage for you. So be very aware that running out trying to get that big punch to finish the fight right away is not the smartest decision. But moving on to point number two, we do want to recognize that a high-paced, high-volume fight is in your best interest. And I've used this tactic many times in my fights. I come out and right away, yes, I'm not trying to KO the guy in the first round, but I right away set a high tempo. I'm coming out and I'm getting right in this zone and I'm getting big exchanges happening. I'm letting them exchange on me, and I'm trying to right away dictate that this fight is not going to be played out here. We're not going to do this so that when we get to the fifth round, cardio is not really important. We want a high volume paced fight. You can establish that very early on. But in training camp, if you know this is going to be a tactic of yours, you want to make sure that your defense is on point. That's something very important if you're going to play to your strength of cardio. If we're pushing the pace, that means we're going to get a lot of punches thrown at us too, especially early in the fight. So when I fought Mosab Amrani and I knew that my big strategy was to tire him out in the first 2 rounds, I knew my defense had to be spot on, because I did not want to go in and start trying to tire him out in round number 1 and round number 2 and end up getting hurt because of that fight tactic. So defense on point, being able to stick yourself against a wall, have somebody in front of you who just throws at you, and you just work at defense, like 3 minutes, just blocking kicks, working head movement, picking off those punches. You do 3-minute rounds. Very important if you're going to be a high volume fighter to have amazing defense. No holes, no mistakes. Next up, very similar to what we were talking about, high volume. If we want high volume, we want to avoid being out here. We want to avoid that sort of karate style where we're bouncing, or somebody who's going to be standing out here really far away, letting this guy sort of decide, oh, okay, I'm going to attack now or I'm not going to attack. Don't let him dictate the pace. I want to tempt him into a higher paced fight. I want to tempt him into moving to me by squaring off with him. I don't need to stand right here where I can get punched, but just outside of punch range, so he's always on edge and he's very motivated to take that little step in and strike. And I don't have to stand here. I'm not saying be a punching bag, but very easy. I can just stand within range, and then if he moves, I move back. If he's doing nothing, I attack him, and then I move back. He comes again, I move back. I'm still fighting my fight. But because part of the fight game plan is to beat this guy on cardio, I want to make sure I'm always tempting him. I'm always offering him something so that he's also falling into my fight pace, which is a very, very high volume, very fast paced fight. When we square off, it becomes much easier to have that fight pace very high as opposed to somebody who's on the outside very far away or somebody who's running around. Then the guy can take his time and control the pace a little bit more. Now, just because you have good cardio doesn't mean you need to be going all the time, all the time, all the time. We need to recognize when it's smartest to take breaks, because the more output we give, the more we do need those breaks. Even somebody like myself, I try to maximize my breaks at the right times, not giving this guy rest time. It's not like I'm out here and I'm just gonna back off and give him 10 seconds to chill. But I talked about this recently when we were looking at Nate Diaz and what makes him so good. For myself, instead of from a distance taking breaks, I like to take breaks when we fall to the clinch. So if we're in the clinch, and I know the ref's coming in, instead of fighting for an additional 2-3 seconds, I just let my hands fall and I just kind of keep my head in a safe zone. It's important for me to do that because the fight pace I'm putting out is so extreme that those breaks, and taking those breaks when he's still working, when he's still trying to move around and he's not relaxed, but I am, makes a world of difference in keeping your cardio even more dominant over this guy than you might already have. That's just smart tactics, going, okay, I'm really, really exceptional at cardio, but I'm gonna make myself even better tonight by taking the breaks, sneaking them in whenever I can. And that moves us on now to talking about what techniques take the most energy. And this will be different for everybody. You get guys like Raymond Daniels and Stephen Wonderboy Thompson who can probably throw a whole bunch of at-length side kicks. You know, they're blasting out the side kicks, blasting out their spinning side kicks. And because they've done them so many times and it's muscle memory, it probably doesn't take a whole lot of energy like it would for me or somebody else. But for them to stand in tight and end up in a big boxing exchange will probably tire them out more. Whereas for me, I'm very comfortable right here exchanging, and I can keep my heart rate a little bit lower than throwing spinning kicks. So think very closely about what your techniques are that you're most comfortable with and that don't tire you out. Everybody's entirely different. You need to really look at yourself, dig deep, think when you're on pad work, think when you're on the bag. What techniques can I just let go, put out really high volume over and over and over, and I don't feel myself getting exhausted? An example for me is I can throw low kicks and middle kicks a lot, like no problem. But when I start elevating, trying to get the head kicks, I go, oh, okay, I just feel that tiny extra bit of energy that's involved. You know, I got to lean back, I got to recoil, just a little bit more tiring. So I only throw those when I see an opening. I don't just bust them out all the time, because I know if I throw 20 of them in a round and they don't land because I didn't set them up, then I'm going to come back in the next round and be a little bit of, or feel a little bit more fatigued than I would have if I just throw them down to the body and then wait for the opening to head level. Be smart. Be aware of what techniques are tiring and what ones you can almost throw for like half an hour without fatiguing to the same extent. Of course, guys, we want to dictate the pace of the fight. We talked about that in a certain way already, but digging in a little deeper, dictating the pace of the fight doesn't only mean I'm going to run out and just get the pace of the fight up really high, like I want a high volume fight, that's it. Dictating the pace of the fight means you're able to push the pace up when you want it there, but you're able to pull it back down and take the breaks when you need them. You hurt the guy, like I've done in a number of fights, I don't let him off the ring ropes. He's on the ring ropes and I'm constantly cornering him. I'm giving him nowhere to run, no distance, no time for him to take a little breath, go, okay, at least I'm 5-6 feet away from this guy, I can breathe. No, I always stay in their face. But if I get tired, I don't mind stepping back and taking a second and really breathing. It's all about me controlling the pace of the fight and being aware of what I want to accomplish in maybe a 5-10 second period of time. Am I going for exhausting him? Am I trying to recover? Be very aware of that. You can practice in your pad work all the time. They do it in Thailand all the time. I remember asking somebody going, they never call for me to front kick. And he's like, no. You front kick them when you want to break. So if the pad holder's there, he's just going to go round kick, round kick, round kick, cross, round kick, knee. And I'm just like, holy smokes, I'm getting tired. So if I'm getting tired of that and I'm just like, I don't want it anymore, then I push the pad holder away. I push him away. I create some distance. He's going to start coming at me. He's going to start pressuring me. That's good pad holding, and that's also me recognizing that I can dictate the pace of pad work as well. It's not all up to the pad holder going kick, punch, punch, kick. It's me going, no, I want to break. Get away from me. Oh, you're coming back? You think I'm going to hit the pad again? No, I'm not ready. Stay away. Play around with your pad work the same way you should in a fight when you want to control the pace of the whole situation. And one final thought, guys, when we look at people who have exceptional cardio, guys like Manny Pacquiao, who just don't seem to tire out, guys like Tony Ferguson, guys like myself, who can just push and push and push. All these guys, myself included, is it's very rare for us to throw techniques at 100% power. You know, it's not like we're just like blah, blah, blah. But when we come out, it's not and you're trying to just put every bit of muscle in. And you see some fighters who do that, but their gas tank is not at the same level as somebody like myself, Demetrius Johnson, these other guys who just go. We're still dangerous. We're still able to put people down. But because we're not putting 100% into our shots, it's just that much easier to maintain the cardio and be exceptional in that conditioning aspect where a lot of people actually end up struggling. So same thing when you hit pads. Even when I hit pads, it's very rare for me to go 100%. I kind of dial back just to like 98, 99. I could always give a little more, but because that's the pace I go out in the fight, I don't want to hit 100%. I just ease back a little bit. That 100% is just that much more tiring, and I find it really blows the gas tank in the fight and in training sessions. And keep in mind, I'm not saying like if I'm going to throw a body shot, like the guy says, oh, body, and I just go, boop, boop. It's just the difference between me going power, where I rip in with every little bit of force, and then me just going like that. For me is kind of like 90%. It's still hard, I can still hurt people, but it's just drawing back a little bit, which allows my cardio to just be that much more comfortable for a longer period of time. If you are one of the fighters who is blessed with exceptional cardio, or you're somebody like myself who just pushes the pace of your training so that you do have exceptional cardio, you need to take advantage of it. Again, this is Fighting with Your Physique. We're talking more about body styles, but this is very in tune sort of with that whole conversation because it's just something that you should take advantage of and you shouldn't disregard. The same way that somebody with really long arms should use a jab, somebody with a really big, strong heart, or maybe that's not actually the case, but somebody with very strong cardio is able to utilize that strength to their advantage. This was a requested video by a number of people. Great conversation to have. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, the topic. If you did, give it a like. If you have not already, guys, join the channel, get subscribed. Train hard, guys, and I'll see you back here soon for another video.